welcome to episode, I think it's 148.
It's up there. And a lot of them.
I think last one was 147, Mike.
Well, then that would make this 148. It's logical.
Well, there's nothing logical about caddying, though. Come on.
Well, we can't count. We can count by ones.
Due to popular demand and the fact he's still in town, we have Mr. Mark Craney back.
Welcome back, Mark.
Good to be back, guys. Don't know about the popular demand, but thank you, appreciate it.
One person was like, he's got some pretty good insight.
Yeah,
one
I
more
got a
than
couple
you.
feedback. They like the banter between yourself and Craney. G. I mean, it's pretty comical, you guys. You guys are almost like brothers, it seems.
He looks like a cartoon character.
Wow. Brothers. No, don't think so. He just told me he blocked the toilet.
And I'll block it again.
Well, that's what brothers do.
Unbelievable. Well, he's back anyway.
He is.
Mike.
Yes.
We may as well get cracked into our old Caddie Stories. What you got?
I got...
You got a new hat on. Nice.
I do have a new hat, yeah. This was one that the wife picked up. I think most of the employees around the resort got these, and I was the beneficiary of it.
Nice.
It's nice, it suits you. I did notice. I like the little symbol with the Pebble Beach and the logo.
I think the golf's a wee bit too low in the hat, though.
Yeah, I like it. It's a good hat.
It's free.
Free. That's why I like it so much. Just like the corporate beverage cart. It's free. And just dig your hands in there and take it. Funny enough, I was working yesterday on a corporate group, and your wife was actually working the tent, and she's like, "Oh, you want anything, Mike?" And I grabbed a vitamin water, and then I was walking away. I was like, "You know what? I'll grab a Snickers." And then I'm like, "You know what, Natalia? I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to get some peanuts. I'm going to grab, a bag of chips." And yeah, I went to town. That's what
Why
you
not,
do.
mate?
The corporate gravy train.
That's what caddies do. Do you know what I mean?
The corporate groups are starting to come back, so it's that time of year, and when the food's free on the cart, you grab some.
Take it when you can.
Exactly.
I just wish they had something better. I think there's inconsistency across the three courses.
But,
That's
they
part
were
of the
actually
problem.
sold out when I went for it. But have you had the honey cinnamon almonds they have? The sugar content is actually not even that high, but the honey cinnamon almonds they have, and they were actually out of them. I was kind of upset.
To me, if the sugar content's not high, they're not for me.
I wouldn't come to mind a snack in the course, almonds. Oh,
Love them.
before we kick off,
Mhm.
right? What's your favourite golf movie ever?
Favorite golf movie?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say Happy Gilmore. I love Happy Gilmore.
Mine's Bagger Vance. You ever watch movies?
That's a good movie.
No. I know there's a new Happy Gilmore coming out.
There is Happy
It's
Gilmore
called Happy
too.
Gilmore too.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it?
logical.
Wow.
It is very,
Wow.
very logical.
It's
They did one. It was time for two. And
I like Caddyshack, I'll be honest.
Okay.
Caddyshack is. I know you hate on it, but it's a funny
it's
movie.
not that. I think it's a bit like a lot of things. You're quite nostalgic.
It's frustrating
you
when you
grow
get
up
yeah.
and you go, that's not funny at all.
Well, and it's frustrating when you get the old guys who just all day they want to regurgitate the lines from Caddyshack. Like,
Get over it.
hot one today. It's like, get out of here.
Well, yeah, absolutely. That's where I'm at with that. But I try to watch Teen Wolf at Christmas. I don't know if it was at Christmas or 6 months ago.
The Michael J. Fox or the Jason Bateman one. There's
Yeah.
a couple of them.
And I thought, oh, this was a really funny one. And you watch it and you go,
terrible.
Garbage.
Terrible.
How it even made it out.
If you're going to watch something funny not related to golf, you got to watch the Goonies.
Goonies is a good one.
Okay, well, we
It's the
digress.
best. I love it.
We digress big time.
I like to watch a bit of TV to chill out at night, and there's very, very little modern day stuff with all the woke nonsense and all. I
What
can't.
about The Bachelor? That's kind of that's not
Aye,
good.
not
I'm a bachelor. Any listeners out there, just so you know, not very eligible, but I'm a bachelor.
and I watched this program. It's from the UK. It's called Midsummer Murders. Right, I watched it growing up with my parents. It was every Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
It's a murder mystery type show,
During the summer,
but it's not too. Well, it's actually not in the summer.
I got you there. Damn, beautiful.
An area of England called Midsummer.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, that's good to know.
However-
I would have guessed it was a part of the summer.
It's not you don't watch it and get scared. It's not too serious.
Mm-hmm.
It's murder, but it's not. I think we came across season 8 or season 12. I can't quite remember, but it's episode 1 of one of them, and it's set in a golf course. The murder happens in a golf course, or the murders happen in a golf course,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hilarious. It's like for us as anyone that's involved in golf.
Did you watch this recently?
Yeah, I watched it about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
Can't remember what series it was.
Well, no, 8 or 12.
Oh well,
You can't remember what you had for breakfast.
I can.
And but it's really worth watching. It's the stereotype of everything. The members, the head pro.
Nice.
Guess what he is.
Guess who he is?
No, guess what he is.
The murderer.
No, he's an alky, right?
Oh,
You know what I mean? He's like drinks
shocking,
heavily.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Then there's the kid in the pro shop giving lessons who's very hands on.
Of course.
Then there's the greenkeeper who is in everyone's business. The club secretary who
shagging the head pro. Yeah.
It's just it was brilliant. And then there's some guys that want it to be the club and the clash thing.
Well, you'll have to send it to me, but you digressed big time there because first you were mentioning Bagger Vance and how that was I'm curious to see how Bagger Vance is your favorite movie.
I just thought Bagger Vance was fantastic because it really involves heavily a caddy. I liked the storyline. Thought it was rather amusing.
It was amusing.
And
Never watched it. Is it a
I
worth a
loved
watch?
the end.
Oh, it's pretty good.
I loved the end. And it's I sometimes feel like when we're out caddying for people, I feel like saying, listen, you're Matt Damon and I'm Bagger Vance here. Right? You know what to do. Why are you asking me? You have everything. Why are you asking me? Like people we caddy for, they forget. It's
God,
like they
they
forget how to play golf.
Gordon, do they actually ask you, or can you? I don't even think they get a chance to ask you. You just tell them. Do you not? You're
You
quite
know.
overpowering at times, but never mind.
Well, there you go. Back in your box.
Be a big box.
But anyway, so there you go, folks. If you're interested for a good laugh, Midsummer Murders.
Well, you'll have
Season
to
8 or 12.
Okay,
episode
1. We'll have
and
to
it's all
figure
about
it out.
golf. The first half hour.
Where can we look? Is this on YouTube
Amazon Prime.
or Amazon Prime? Okay, good to
You
know.
probably find it in any, but that's what I watch it on.
Shout out to Amazon Prime.
Gonna have to watch that.
Right, Caddie Stories. What you got, Zabbo?
Well, had an offshoot, the McCoppin group in every September had an offshoot of that group, the Bright crew in American Legends Golf, Kevin Egan, who you've met before.
American Legends.
American Legends.
Legends of what?
They're legends of home building. That's they are a home building company, but absolutely gem of a group. Justin, great to have in town. So the group shows up, and he tells me who's caddying for who. And he's like, Fish will have Eric and Paul. And I'm looking at, like, sizing up the guys because I know most of them. So I know it's like 5 out of the 8 guys. And then the 3 I don't know. And, caddies tend to judge books by their cover. We see attractive women. We have thoughts. We see golfers with certain clubs. We have other thoughts. We size people up. So I see this guy, and he's got, 2 ponytails, braided out. He's got tats up to his necks, all down his arms, down his fingers. He's got gold teeth, gold chains, and I'm like, that's got to be my guy. That's got to be my guy. And he was in the group, and I was like, this is going to be just legendary. So he wasn't in my group the first 2 days, but after the first day, I talked to him a little bit. Super cool guy. Like you would, other than the appearance, salt of the earth guy.
No, don't knock that appearance. I don't mind that.
Exactly. It wasn't bad.
Each to their own.
Anyway, so he's like, they're terrible golfers, and they're playing like kind of semi-serious money matches. He's a 55 handicap. Oh. And I went home and I told the wife, she's like, well, you can't be like more than a 36. And I was like, actually, no, they changed it. Jen, you can be a 54. So he's got a 54 index, but he was getting 55. So he's getting 3 shots on every single hole, 4 on the number 1 handicap hole. So this is just like, you're playing the guy and he's like, 5 net 2. I'm like, damn it. I'm like, he's just hitting 6 iron, 6 iron, 6 iron, chips one close. He was, and this was incredible. He was on the 7th hole at the big course, short par 3, 80 yards. He hits the back edge of the green. He's putting for a -1. He's putting for -2. He
-2, yeah.
Begin to Stableford.
He 2 putts, like he gets it down in 2 from there. I'm like, that's a net 0, bro. I'm like, that's tough to beat. I've never seen that in the history of the game. He had a 3 net 0. Have you ever seen a net 0?
No, I've never heard of a
I've heard of net 0.
I was like, dude,
He's got some swag.
I saw the scorecard. I was like, I really want to see this today. I figured that would be his best shot. I was like, I'm going to see something I've never seen today. A 3 net 0.
What did he shoot total?
Oh, dude, he shot like it was
Loads.
like 135, and he's like, at the end, he was like, best round ever. I'm like,
love his honesty.
He was awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Awesome, Zach. Awesome, dude.
Gold teeth.
Yeah, gold teeth, and he had this.
As good as mine.
Yeah, dude, full grill. It was awesome. I was like,
Horse teeth.
he was a good dude.
Listen to you.
And I tell you what, his teeth now are an improvement of what they used to be.
Well,
They're great.
keep him in shape.
Yeah.
Okay.
They look all right.
We'll be the judge.
Great.
Where'd you get that done? Turkey?
No, not Turkey. Dubai.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
That's right. Dubai, well known for their dental
work.
care.
Yes.
Well, she's actually a dentist from the UK, from London actually. So she moved to the
very
moved to
serious
Dubai.
now.
So
Set up shop in Dubai.
I really,
Nice.
yeah, exactly. So there you go.
Nothing wrong with that.
I could book you in, G.
I was working with a lad. Actually, no, he's a caddy we work with. Who you know? I'm not going to mention his name because he asked me not to mention his name. But he was playing.
Come on, tell us his name.
And he told the wildest story. He's playing with a lad who is a member up at a course up in the Bay Area here, and it's up towards San Francisco. And this lad used to work there, and he actually gets sacked, and that's what led him to come to caddy here. He worked in the shop. He worked customer service. I think he worked in the pro shop.
Down here or up there?
No, up there. Up there.
Okay.
And one day he's out playing with some members. They get to the 9th hole, they haven't seen the beer cart. And they're swinging by, or they were like at the 10th, and they swing by the kind of clubhouse. And the boys are going, we wouldn't mind a cocktail. And he was ripped. Smokes a lot of weed, and he was drinking a lot.
Well, you're not narrowing down the caddy pool.
No, exactly.
So you're naming about 390 out of 400.
Completely unanimous. And he said, "Don't worry, I've got this." So he takes his cart back, and he grabs the beverage cart,
And
thinking,
brings it out on the course with him.
Try to.
Yeah.
And he ended up flipping it into a bunker.
Ooh, yeah. That'll get you
Flipped it
canned.
over in a bunker, like nearly killed himself. He got out.
Grabbed 6 beers for the boys.
The first person that turned up thought he was dead because it was kind of lying on him. And he was taken home by the pro. And he woke up the following morning, had no recollection. Had zero recollection. I don't think he had any
Little
recollection.
concussed, yeah. Little
He deserves a lifetime
medal?
membership. Exactly. Not the sack. What a guy, man.
I asked the member if anyone ever discusses this, because he was very popular with the members, but
I'm sure.
The general manager was like, "Listen, everyone likes you here. I like you, but you have to go."
It's time. It's time
That's
to move
legendary, isn't it?
Lawsuit.
on. That is legendary. That's
But
funny.
yeah, he told me that story. Wow, that's unbelievable. How did you end up caddying with us?
And there it is.
There it is.
Yeah.
Mark, what about you? What you got? You've been working?
You're now an official resort caddy, aren't
Yeah,
you?
well, I'm back to being a club caddy.
How does
well,
that
to be
feel?
fair, I've always been a club caddy. You know what I mean? End of the day, it's in your DNA, isn't it? You know, obviously when I started club caddying, when I was younger at Prestwick Golf Club in the west of Scotland, and to be fair, at the time, I just did it for the cash, and I still
because most of us do it for fun.
and I still do
Exercise.
but club caddying. I was out at Cypress Point yesterday on a lovely Tuesday afternoon with some 4 Australian guys, and having 2 bags on, one on each shoulder, is a bit of a difference. It was a big transition for me because I've not done it for a long time, but I enjoyed it. But I must admit, I think when people ask you about tour caddying compared to club caddying, when you say resort, but you know, Cypress Point is no resort, is it? Let's be honest.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I know what he means. I know what he means.
Club caddying.
Amateur golf compared to professional golf.
Yeah.
100%. Like, I actually think, like, you know, you're asked so much more from the amateurs, and obviously these guys don't have the talent to back it up, where you feel like if you get something wrong, it gets to me because I care about my job. But on tour, you don't get asked as much. But obviously, when you do, the consequences can be larger.
Pressure's
the
more,
pressure's
yeah,
massive.
yeah.
But I don't really feel the pressure when I'm on tour, I'll be honest. I felt a little bit more pressure yesterday when I've got some big guy who's played the course. He's been around the course more than me, and he's asking me the reads. And yeah, I'll be honest, I got a couple wrong. As in, I got the side. I know what side it's breaking from. That's pretty obvious. But it was more, I was over borrowing and things like that, and just getting a little bit adjusted, that kind of thing. And then they ask you, like, oh, is it uphill, downhill? And on tour, you don't get that. Like, you're never going to get a pro, like, say, for instance, my job, Alex Norn, like, was one of the best putters ever, but, oh, is this uphill or downhill? You know, they ask you a putt, and it's quite easy to read, because usually they'll ask you on a shorter putt, and it's usually close to the straight, because their eyes are trained that well that it's only if it's kind of very close to the straight. So you don't really, it's not actually that hard to read putts for the top guys. And the thing is, they can start it online. So yeah, I found it interesting yesterday, and obviously, you know yourself, like, amateur golfers, like into the wind, downwind, like you can be saying, oh, it's helping 10 or 15, but if the guy hits it low and then the next guy hits it high, it's a big difference. At least on tour, the guys have got a very consistent ball flight, so it's actually easier to caddy. Like, I had a guy yesterday who I was carrying for, and he was into the wind. I keep giving him, well, I had two guys, as you know, you're carrying for two different people, two bags. One guy hit it high, so into the wind uphill, it's like, it's cold. This is probably playing 15 a hurt, but the other guy I was having to only maybe play 5 a hurt because he hits it so low and he just chips it. It was like if I'd played him 15 a hurt, he'd be long and over the back. So you've actually got more what's the word?
It's called variables.
Variables, that's the word. I do struggle with my speech a little bit, not to worry.
I would recognise that.
So that's okay, that's fine. Each to their own, nobody's perfect, not even me. But the variables there's a lot more of them, especially when you've got two guys. So it's a bit more demanding, I thought.
Yeah.
As I touched on a little bit there before, that the pressure's not there, but when you care of the outcome as much as I do, and I don't care if he's a 55 handicap or whatever you want, a 54 handicap, or he's a a major champion. Not that I've carried for one, but I've carried for PGA Tour winners, winners on tour, and I still want to do my best and get the best result. So, and that's probably it keeps you on your toes and keeps your drive as a caddy. And I'm going back out there today, and I think I might be out with two females. So hopefully, that might be Mrs. Green Card for me. Who knows? But I'll be trying harder today than I did yesterday. I can assure you that.
Hey, how you doing with the fitness wise? Because obviously you're completely out of shape.
Fitness wise, Jesus, man, like I feel like I'm paralysed nearly today. That loop yesterday was tough. We played so quick. We were around in like 3 hours and 12 minutes, I think, or 18 minutes. Something.
It's hard to keep up with, actually.
That is hard to keep up with, man. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the thing is, the bags. I had one really heavy bag and one light bag, but the light bag had a double strap on it. But it was late, so I had to go on my right shoulder, which is my stronger shoulder. And the heavy one had to go on my left, so I was
That's tough.
So I was like, Jesus, man. But yeah, and then you're going quick, and on tour, it's quite easy. You get the bag goes down a lot. Do you know what I mean? You've got a lot of time in between shots. But yeah, you just kept going. But I enjoyed it. But the body is a little bit in bits. My knee is killing me today, my left knee. I don't know why that is.
Carrying a lot of weight.
It's carrying a lot of weight. And I could have said a few years ago I maybe had carrying my wallet on my left, but I'm absolutely skint now, so it can't be that. So there you go. But I'm happy.
Yeah,
but
good.
All good.
I've found he mentioned about you don't know if the player's going to hit it high or low, and it varies. You know what else drives me nuts is when they're chipping. They're like, well, where do you want me to land it? I'm like, you got a 60-degree wedge. Half the time you're sculling it and hitting it 2 feet off the ground. Half of the time you're popping it up straight up in the air. I don't know how high you're going to hit it. It doesn't matter.
I know a good answer to that. I'll say it. I don't know. I can't tell you where I want you to land it, but I can tell you where I want you to finish it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And I always just say, it depends on how high you hit it. I'm not going to tell you where to land it. I'm going to tell you the percentage and where it breaks, but don't ask me where to land it.
And that's something yesterday I had kind of got used to, like, you're reading the putt and you're kind of maybe say it's a 35 foot and you're saying, I just like it somewhere up in this area, anything within 2 or 3 feet from here is a really good putt. Like, you're not going to tell Alex Norton that, do you know what I mean? Or Paul Casey or these Tyrrell Hatton, you know what I mean? So you've got to adapt.
Well, you could, but they might just ignore you.
They probably would, but yeah, the guys are trying to hole their putts and they know what they're doing. So you've got to try and play the game a little bit. And it's what you touched on there, Zabbo, about the chipping. Like, if I told you to land it there, when you might be here all day trying to land it on that spot, just roughly in here, do you know what I mean? Like, just
Zabbo's just trying to hit chips forward.
Percentages.
Exactly. Not catch the hassle.
That's it. Zabbo, I'm a great chipper. I'll short you out. No
problem.
No,
Zabbo.
Chipping. On level with most tour players.
No, better.
Is he?
No, he told one of our listeners a couple of years ago that
I am a good chipper.
His short game was as good as any tour pro
didn't say
on the PGA
that.
Tour.
I didn't say that.
Well, I'm actually quite well known for my chipping on tour as a caddy. You even ask the likes of like Richie Ramsey, Martin Kime, Alex Norton. I'm a filthy chipper. All because I know the action, I understand the bounce, I understand the technique.
Wow. You're certainly filthy, but I don't know about chipping.
Exactly.
I think though, I with experience, you feel as if you end up being like a bank or a mobile phone company or insurance company, that when you're caddying, you're given all the small print.
100%.
Yeah. Oh yeah, okay. Well, it's
lots of
140. It's
disclaimers.
downhill, but the wind's in too, so we're going to play at 145, 150. However, if you hit it low, you know what I mean.
A lot of disclaimers.
Amateur golfers, because you're trying to cover your.
That's a good point. You've got to cover more boundaries and more areas as a club caddy, because the guys, as they're amateurs. 1 7-iron might go 165, next one might go 1.5,
and they have
or
high
5.
expectations.
I had a lad this past week, and he was difficult. He was very talkative, had a lot to say for himself.
Jesus, it sounds like you can't for yourself.
I know. And that's coming from me. I'm on the first tee. I was like, ooh,
give it a rest, bro.
I know. I was like, settle down. Maybe he'd been taking drugs. I don't know. So he wants to know all the information about the putt, and he's not that good.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, these guys normally aren't. And we get to 15, and he complained about the read. He hit it 2 cups outside, and I told him hit it a cup. Of course, it's never going to come back. It did end up finishing up behind the hole because he hit it 2 feet past, and he looked at me and he goes, "Oh, that was real straight." And I was like, "Well, not really."
Yeah. Get
to 16, give him his read. He hits it 3 feet past, and it finishes exactly behind the hole.
That didn't turn either.
Oh, no. That was more like here. And I says, "Oh yeah, just another bad read from the caddy, huh?" "Oh, I didn't mean it like that." I says, "Well, there's no other way you can mean it then."
Exactly.
And his tail was between his legs. But it's like just shite golfers who think they're better than they are, looking for an excuse.
Very frequent.
Well, people are fragile. Even that's a good thing. Like I've learned that even yesterday, I gave a couple, and I'll go straight in and say, "You know what, guy, that wasn't that bad a putt. That was me. I gave you slightly the wrong read." It just takes the blame. And on tour, a lot of caddies will do that with players because the players don't like to be wrong, and if I've maybe misclubbed or got the wind wrong, I'll just say, "You know what, whoever you're working for, you put a good swing on that. That was on me. You know what, I'll put my hands up and say," even if it kind of wasn't. Sometimes it keeps their ego high.
We do that, but it's like, come on, guys,
I'm quite happy to do
grow
that.
a backbone, grow a pair, own up. You know if you hit a bad shot or not. You know if you hit you hit the line or not. Like
same
mollycoddling, cotton wool. Yeah. It's pathetic. It's the way the world's going.
Very, very common though. It happens every
People are fragile. People
every
are
day.
very, very fragile.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not though.
So I had one. This was back during the rainy days, and after the rain settles and it's really wet out there, birds tend to congregate in certain areas. There's a bunch of egrets, beautiful white birds on 4, and I'm doing a single for this absolute hack, and he's just chopping it. And we're only on the 4th hole, and he's a chop, and then he stripes a drive. He's got like 110 yards, and there's a bunch of birds like off to our right there, and he goes, "Well, what do you want me to do? You want me to hit it? I'm just going to shank it into the birds." And what do I come back? With that attitude you are, yeah, get that out of your mind. You got 110 yards. You're not going to shank it into the bird. He's like, "All right," and sure as shit, he shanks it dead into the egret, and I'm talking like it hit it hard, and feathers just exploded, like feathers everywhere. The thing lived; it flew off. All his buddies flew off too. They were a little scared and flew off, and he was just gun shy for like the next 4 holes. He just couldn't pull the trigger. He's like, "I told you I was going to hit that bird." I was like, "Dude, that bird was 90 degrees right." I was like, "You totally had that in your brain."
Anybody who has the thoughts with the shanks, do you know what? I think a good way, try and hit a shank. You go and try and hit a shank. It's very, very difficult. So if you've got that thought in your head, sometimes it's a thing to do is to try and hit one. And I'll be honest, it's very difficult.
Actually, there's another one I'd like to bring up that we didn't talk about, and I don't know if you're going to remember this, but I was working with you, and this is something caddies do on the regular, especially when you and I work together once in a while. We're not really sure, even on our home course sometimes. We're like, "Hey, what do you see on this putt?" I just like a little extra input. So
100%.
We're on the 15th hole at the big course, and I don't know if you remember this, but you were above the hole, and it's that tricky one to the front pin. It's past the pin, and you were calling it like right edge, or like just outside right. And you called me in, and I wasn't even looking at it, but you called me in, and I looked at it. I was like, "You know what? I think it's like a left edge putt. It actually goes right." And
split it.
And he's like,
"It's a right edge."
And then he's like, no. He's like, it's right edge. Go with my read.
How far are you from here, though? Did you make me ask you that?
He's like 15 feet.
Oh, 15 feet. Okay.
And I was like, all right, you can do that if you want, but you're going to miss it right if you do it. And sure as shit, he hit the putt and he missed it on the right side, and we just kind of walked away. And
I don't believe that.
It's true. That happened.
That putt goes from right to left. It goes from left to right, and at the very end, it hooks back.
Yeah, but if he's got
that one didn't hook back.
Yeah, these things happen. You're not.
We're not drones.
No, we're not drones.
But you've seen the.
It might hit some. Hey,
and like you said,
hey
guys, it might hit something. A pitch mark you don't see.
Yeah, no,
there's loads of variables. Do you know what I mean?
You've seen the greenkeeper with the stint on Puana grass, and he rolls it 3 times. One goes left, one goes straight, one goes right.
Perfect. My point being that I am the same way. That in that way we're similar. I do that all the time. and I call other caddies in, but I always want to go with my read because I think I'm right. But I just thought it was funny because everybody kind of went silent in the group after that. I was like, well, if you play it right, Ed, you're going to miss it right, and he missed it on the right side, and it was just it was comical. I thought
from memory, I think he pushed it.
Come on, Gordon.
You've got a bunch of doctors in your family, don't you?
I do. Yes.
When Any available this afternoon?
When I went to uni, my mate was a doctor. He never actually lasted. He signed up to be a doctor and never worked out. I went to one of his lectures. Literally, the guy stood up top and told everyone, you guys are the smartest around. You're going to be doctors. And they're told from an early age as a medicine.
You told me that.
Yes. Wonder why. You're going to be you're the smartest people in the room type thing. So I always have a good laugh with doctors when we caddy for them, say,
they can be fun, yeah.
And if you have good guys, I had 2 wonderful lads from Austin.
2 doctors from Austin.
They are, I wouldn't say that they're not cardiologists. They spend all day putting stents in. So there's a guy called Brett.
Oh, hook me up.
And Sunil, right? They're getting medicated. They're on the drink. We're going from 16 to 17 in the big course.
Mm-hmm.
We see a fire engine. And there's the security's there. Fire engine's there. And I'm in the back of the car, and I hear Brett say to Sunil, he said, "Oh, should we go and help?
Let's heed the call."
Right? And Sunil went, absolutely no chance. He says, "We're trashed, and we're also on holiday." But the guy's like, "Well, maybe they need our help." So I then went up to the marshal and says, "What's happened?" And he tells me, suspected gas leak. Right.
The doctors are on that case.
The doctor, so I says, "Boys, I hope you get your plumbing certificate because you got a guy." But it was just the self-importance of seeing a fire engine and go, "Well, they'll probably need us, huh?"
Yeah, I'm a doctor. Let me get in there.
We can deal with this.
Take a day off.
Take a day off. And you wouldn't have let any of these guys near you. I actually said to them as well, I says, "You're really surgeons because the way you putt hands like that,
yeah,
horrible, absolutely horrible."
Doctors they can be fun groups like that because you can dig into them like that, and they take it well.
These boys took it very, very well. Good, really, really good lads.
Sometimes I've got no option.
Okay, lads.
Question time.
Yeah, we got to go to question time because Zabbo's got to go and do a loop.
I do.
And you have to go and unblock that toilet. So we'll take a quick break and we'll be back with some mailbag questions.
Might not be that quick.
Before we move on to the questions, I should remind everyone that on the notes on Spotify and on Apple, click on the link, send the boys a text, and we call that fan mail. You can also email questions, podcast@glorifieddonkey.com, or on one of the social media outlets. What was the other thing I was going to say?
Buy us a beer.
If you're new to the podcast, definitely check out the previous 147 episodes. People like to go back.
And Midsummer Murders.
Well, we've got to check out Midsummer
Amazon Prime
as well. And if you want to support the boys, we'll be having another golf day soon, Zabbo.
Okay, good.
Buy us a beer. So you go to the website, glorifieddonkey.com.
Buy us a beer. Tax season is upon us.
Buy me a Diet Coke.
And we have
and a hot dog.
We have a few of those.
And a Snickers.
But I haven't written them down. I'll have to do those. I'll have to do those next time.
Okay.
Next episode. So because Craney's here, a couple of people emailed in.
I'm sure they did.
This came from a John Ainsworth.
Hey, John.
He's from Atlanta, Georgia. Can you talk about the camaraderie among professional players on tour?
Yes, John, I can.
Do they all get on? No.
I think one thing I will say, I think when I first went on tour, there was definitely more. There was more of a bond between the players and that, especially in Europe. I'd say they're closer knit in Europe for sure. But even then, I've seen they've all got their own teams now. You know what I mean? They've got their caddy, they've got their physio, they've got their coach, they've got their agent. When I first went out on tour, it was you might have seen a couple of agents, you might have seen 1 or 2 physios, you might have seen a couple of the coaches. But now it's totally changed. So these guys have a little kind of team around them, and they're in a little bubble. But at the end of the day, there is people out there with relationships between players. But I think at the end of the day, they're all selfish. Driven, and not selfish in a bad way. Selfish in a way that
how can selfish ever be a good thing?
Well, I think being selfish, you've got to be selfish at the top of the game. You've got to put yourself first and you have that tunnel vision and get to the top. And I think some of the guys who are more friendly don't have that kind of bit about them, and sometimes that can hold you back. I'll be honest. That's my opinion. But I think there is relationships out there, but I think it's maybe phasing out a little bit since it had maybe 15, 20 years ago. But I would say in Europe, you can see it in the Ryder Cup. Look at the Ryder Cup. The European guys they're all good. They all get on. You know what I mean? They all play for the Europe, and they're all like, they are really into it as a team. They come as a unit. They put their egos to the side that week. They really do. The Yanks don't seem to put their egos to the side. I'll be honest.
When you turn up for it, you turn up as a unit.
Yes, I do turn up as a unit, but and I leave my ego at home. So
you're homeless.
I'm homeless. That's true. No. My parents,
Nowhere to leave it.
My mum and dad are still alive, so I've always got a place there. Just.
Well,
that's funny.
Zabbo, you any comment on that? You think?
Yeah, I think Craney's kind of spot on. I think he's right too, as far as like years ago, seeing it myself. Caddying in the AT&T every year on the PGA Tour, there did seem to be more camaraderie back in the day as opposed to now. It's I agree with it. It's an individual sport. You have to be kind of selfish in that regard. Yeah, I'd rather see more banter and more fun out
100%.
there. But I think Bryson has evolved in that regard. Do I think it's somewhat fake? Yeah, but he's a likable guy now. I mean, before he was not likable, but we need more of that on the PGA Tour.
I don't know if he wasn't. I think because he was different, he became unlikable, and I think people have understood that he maybe was a little bit, OTT with certain things he did. But to me, he is a good guy. Like, it takes a lot for people for what he did there at the US Open. He was a champion, and I think since his father passed away, I think he's gained the hearts of a lot of Americans, a lot of golfers.
Oh, for sure. He's very it's funny. I saw a meme the other day. It's like it took him going to live to be popular on the PGA Tour. He's now a popular guy on the PGA Tour, and he doesn't even play for him. I mean, he is very popular among American fans now, and good for him.
And I think the PGA Tour realised that they've got Rory, they've got Tiger, who's now on the way. He's career, but they need an American. They need a Phil Mickelson kind of guy.
They do.
Jordan's not quite the way he was. Justin Thomas, I think Bryson DeChambeau's a better player than any, even though obviously Jordan's piece of record speaks for itself, but ability wise, and I think he'll do more in the game. So America, PGA Tour in America, they need a superstar. And I think Bryson DeChambeau is your American superstar, to be honest.
I agree.
And I think they need that with the likes of Europe having John Ram. Obviously, he's on live, but Rory. So they need. I think if Rory and Bryson were to be the face of it going forward. I mean, forget about your Justin Thomas and your Jordan's people will always be up there, but Justin Thomas, your face of PGA Tour, for me, no chance. He ain't got that. He ain't got the personality. He ain't got the pull. It's a little bit shame that Ricky Fowler's not got that kind of competitive edge anymore, because he has what people want to see. He's got. He pulls the fans. I mean, Justin Thomas ain't pulling no fans compared to Bryson DeChambeau. No.
Okay, so we slightly got away from the actual question there, but
it's okay.
Thank you very much. This one comes from Eric in Sydney, and he says, I've started playing golf in my late 30s. What do you believe is the key to longevity in a golfing career?
What aspect? As an amateur? If it's an amateur, I'll be honest.
Well, yeah, you just started playing at 30, so I doubt he's on the PGA Tour.
No, but he might have dreams of being on some sort of high level amateur or a mini tour one day. So if you've just started, I would say longevity is enjoy it. We've touched on that before in the last episode, but you've got to work at it. You've got to work at it. You've got to practice. You've got to I would say getting a lesson's good, but be careful, what route you go down. You might have to take a step backwards to go forwards. If I was you, mate, I would concentrate on your short game. Anything from 50 yards in, round about the greens and that, just focus on that. It's a lot easier to get good at that than it is to try and hit your driver 250, 260, 70 yards.
Yeah, not only that, I think if you practice on your short game, chipping specifically, it helps the rest of the aspects of your game. You're making full swings at the range. If you're looking for longevity, that's where you see a lot of these better amateur players when they get really older. They have a lot of back problems, a lot of issues. Their health is not that good. When you're playing, like if you're starting to get good and you want to play 4 or 5 times a week, your body's going to feel that years down the road, especially if you're beating balls all day. You practice chipping and putting, you get really dialed at that, it's going to translate to the rest of your game.
And that's a good point, because that chip, if you've got a good chip in action and a good wedge game, that action does filter into your longer game as well. So it's a great way to if you can get your swing dialed in from kind of with the short clubs, even if it is 3/4 shots and half shots, it's a great place to be in, and that'll give you longevity. I've got a few members back at my golf club in Prestwick St Cuthbert's Golf Club, guys who hit it nowhere now. Decent players back in the day, but their short game's mustard, and they guys can still play off 4, 5, 6. They have done for 10 to 20, 30 years. The short game has to stay there to have longevity.
For sure.
And you can enjoy the game with a short game.
I'd ignore any of the golf part and look after your body.
Exactly.
Swinging a golf club
Coming
is
from
not
you?
good.
See, Liz, man.
Stretch.
So you should just
Stretch.
write down what you do, and everybody should just follow the opposite.
Try stretching 3, 4, 5 times a
Try
week.
dieting, Gordon.
And then before you go out and play, when you're on the range, a quick 5 to 10 minute stretch and probably low resistance weights. Look after your body and you'll have longevity. Stay healthy.
PT.
Had this one before here, boys. This is from a Kurt in a place called Wheaton in Illinois. And he says, if you could play a round of golf with any 3 people, living or deceased, who would they be? Now try and keep it short. Zibble Zabble?
Yeah, we've definitely had this one before. I'd say 3 people, my dad and my 2 brothers.
Okay.
Right, got the perfect foursome right there. My dad and 2 brothers. Actually, no, hold on. Let me rephrase that. Last time I said this, I got in trouble. I'm going to scratch that. I would play with my lovely wife, my lovely wife, my daughter, and my father. Yes, no. my father, my wife, and my daughter. Perfect foursome.
There you go.
Damn it! I knew. It's kind of. I said that.
That's not coming from your gut. I tell you, Zabbo. You got it right the first time.
But when I said it, I was like, I seem to remember a conversation with my wife, and I'm like, oh yeah. Let me change that. Yeah, my wife. Of course, I want to play with my wife.
Mark.
So they don't have to be golfers, really, do they? Like,
No, they could be anyone.
Lloyd Saltman is a guy who's close to me and who I started my golfing career with. He would be we just have, there's a connection there. I wouldn't be, without him, I wouldn't be where I was. So that would mean a lot to me. Paul Gascoigne, a footballer, I would love a round with him in my group. And then let's go for Cindy Crawford, maybe.
Wow. There you go. Currently or back when she was
Lloyd
like 30?
Saltman, Cindy Crawford and Paul Gascoigne.
There you go.
And think of the after party there we could have.
I get this one here. I don't care about it. It's hypothetical.
What's your foursome? You didn't give yours.
No, I don't need to.
Okay.
Nobody will play with Gordon. He's a one ball.
Ross Hummel from Manchester, and he asks, would you rather play golf in extreme heat or extreme cold?
Heat.
Oh, all day the heat, mate.
Extreme.
Well, depends if it's a weather warning, but I would rather. I think you can.
I'm taking the cold.
Seriously?
Because when you get
extreme cold.
So
that's a good question.
So the course has to be open, which means it's not
frozen.
It's sort of Alaska in January.
Yeah.
Right. It's not Buffalo. So it has to be. Course has to be open. So there's only so cold it can get. We grew up where we grew up, and the wind would hump in and
be cold.
Your lips would freeze, your face would freeze.
Yeah, it's no fun for me.
So it's no fun. But I'd also rather take that than when being in Las Vegas or Sacramento playing in 115, 117 degrees. Absolutely,
I've done both, and I'd say hands down heat because
I'm with you, Zabbo. The body can move.
Here's a better question. What would you rather caddy in? Hands down, it would be extreme cold. I don't want to caddy in extreme heat. I would rather caddy in extreme cold.
Depends if I'm in a cart or not.
Good point.
Yeah.
That's a good question, to be fair.
It flips it, though. Like, playing, for sure, I'd be extreme heat. If I'm caddying, cold, hands down.
What would you say extreme heat is? 120? 120 degrees Fahrenheit?
Anything over 100. 105. I don't think I've played in over 105.
You haven't?
No.
Okay.
Well, I've caddied in like, 45-ish, 44,
Celsius. So that's you're up in the 115s there.
Yeah, I've caddied in that in South Africa at Sun City and Dubai and that. It's the lucky thing is I'm built for it, so I'm okay. I'm an athlete. So it's for me it's either or. But I would say the heat. But if you can get on a buggy, the heat would be such a difference. I think because you're getting a bit of shade. You can, you can stay cool. You can, hydrate and things. But if you were walking in the heat or the cold, Probably the cold a little bit, because especially back in the UK, like, you can warm yourself up that way. It's
Correct.
probably easier to warm yourself up than it is to cool yourself down. I don't know.
Correct.
Very good question, though.
It
is a good question.
I'm taking cold. But remember I did that thing at Jed's charity do?
Mm-hmm.
And it was 112.
Oh,
for
yeah.
charity.
And it was...
Sacramento in the summer is not,
and this
not
was,
cool.
This was only May, I think, or June.
Ooh.
It was unbelievable. I thought I was going to die.
Blistering. And you weren't even
And there was
playing.
no wind. Any wind that did come in, it was like what they call in North Africa a sirocco.
Oh, God. It feels
And
like
Volkswagen.
And it's like a hairdryer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely horrific.
When you go to places like this, it like comes from the ground up. See if it's been like stormy and it's
Oh,
been rain.
God,
Oh
yeah.
my God!
See
man.
it coming at you.
You're like just in a sauna.
Mm-hmm.
And this last one, Jeff Johnson, Casper, Wyoming.
Hi Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
What's up, Jeff?
Hey Jeff.
How's it hanging, Jeff?
How's it going, Jeff?
What's your opinion on slow play and how to address it? It reared its head again this past weekend.
It's never going to... We beat this dead horse over and it's never going to stop. I mean, no comment. We're never going to fix it. It's not fixable because...
It's up to the players to fix it,
And they're not going to do it.
and they're not going to do it.
They're
you
not
have
gonna-
to. Don't find them money. Find them shots.
And it's not gonna
You can lose a championship over that.
happen at the highest level, and it's certainly not gonna happen where we see it at the resort or club level. Actually, club level it's different because there is no slow play because the guys understand concepts of step up to the ball and hit it, even if they're 20 handicaps they play in 3.5, 4 hours. I mean,
I would actually. I think a good point about the slow play is that you're not going to stop it, as I always says. I think they just have to stop talking about it. To be fair, there's more things in golf that we could be talking about than the slow play. It's kind of came out there as if it's the kind of main headline every week. Like, okay, it's not great, but it is what it is. Do you know what I mean?
I totally disagree with that.
The courses are longer, right? The courses are longer.
The time's not getting taken on the course. The time's taken on the green.
Not always.
And what you need to realise, you're talking about, okay, golf needs a superstar. If you watch the PGA Tour, there's only so many groups they can cover because of the amount of wire, number of cameramen, number of batteries. That's where Liv has them, right? They have so much money they can have. I can't remember the figure, but it's hundreds of miles of wire you need to cover a golf event.
Mm-hmm.
And CBS, Sky Sports, etc., whoever it is that's covering it, only have so much money to employ cameramen. The cameraman always has to have a number 2 to change the batteries. They have to drive around the course.
What
They
about
follow the
drones?
leaders, right? Drones would actually be probably
The cable there.
not too bad. That
One of our better ideas.
but the noise of that is going to get into the players. Don't they hate that, right? So there's one of the issues. But when you have guys taking 2 minutes over a 15-foot putt, then they miss them like that guy
But why-
Aaron
but-
Rye did it at the weekend.
Yeah, but
nobody wants to see that. It's
Yeah,
boring.
But there you go. Things like aim point. If they ban that will help. Because that's when they're spending a lot of time. You see the caddy getting in on top of it. You see the player. So those are the kind of things that you're going to... Like green books and aim point, these are the things that have to be taken away from the game. That will speed it up.
Well, I think if they had a referee who was also the scorekeeper, because they have a scorekeeper anyway, correct, with every group.
yeah, they should
The
have
scorekeeper
somebody.
then goes,
But you're not able to... It's going to
go-
cost you too much
no,
money.
you go. No one. You go, skate. Mark, you're now on the clock.
shot clock,
As in,
Yep.
shot clock. That's
you got
it.
40
It's the
seconds
only-
to hit your putt.
If
But
it
it's
works,
not as simple as that.
well, it has to be.
You have to be through the RNA, through the USGA and all that. To that, you need to be a professional. You can't just have a guy with a scoreboard. You know what he's got his shot
Not a
clock.
the
Scorer.
The scorer. And then,
So he's
but
marking the
also
score.
rules
He's got a
official.
radio in his head. He's got a rules of fight. He's got too much going on.
It has to change.
It's the never-ending debate, Jeff.
Never in debate.
I think having on every tee on the PGA Tour a clock saying that to show you like, you know, that you have to be here by this group has to be here by this time. You know, if that makes sense. Might be enough for the guy. You know, when you go and get a water on the tee and things like that, it might say, you know, you're +4, you're -4. Sometimes instead of a ref coming to you and saying that to you, it might look better that on a tee box you can say, you know what, Jesus guys, we're -8 here. We need to pick it up. I think something like that could help. The players don't like being told what to do, but I think having some sort of kind of
Clock,
reference,
yeah.
it wouldn't be a bad thing.
No one likes to get told what to do, especially
But-
caddies.
Yeah, and you couldn't have a score person telling you, Rory McIlroy, you're 2 minutes behind. It's not going to work. But something visually where it's not coming from him, that it's them who are seeing it. You know what I mean? It
Lovely.
would help.
We'll
Okay.
have this debate in 20 years.
Well, Zabbo, you need to go to work. Thank you
do,
for your
yes.
time as always.
Thank
you know,
you.
it was a
Go
pleasure.
for a donut.
Should we do a few shout-outs first?
No time for shout outs today.
All right,
I've got
boys.
one shout out. Mark.Crane.
Mark needs to go and empty or clean out this toilet.
Yep, that's true.
Boys, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
As I said before, there's 147 previous episodes. If you enjoy it, get out there, get in contact with us. But until the next time, enjoy your golf, but more importantly,
keep it humble.